Cessna over the threshold, coming up on the white dot, outer beyond the white dot, left turn first available. I got a high wind coming up on about a half-mile final, clear to land, outer beyond. Traffic on the left face, you're following a Cessna down, low off your left. Square it up just a little bit, and then we're going to get you in. Start your descent, though. Start your descent on the base. Traffic on final, give me follow on base. Base traffic, start turning toward the numbers now. High wing coming up on quarter-mile final, take it all the way down to the green. Cessna taxiing on the green, expedite down to the next hard surface. Get me some speed, there you go, go fast. This is going to be good. I got traffic on a mile final. You're following traffic ahead and to your right. High wing coming up on the threshold. Take it all the way down to the green dot.
5 Charlie Sierra, 2 mile final.
A mile final, turn north, and we're going to just make you, we're going to bring you back around. Jet traffic's coming up on about a mile and a half final. Runway 9 clear to land.
Okay, all right. Let's listen up, guys. If you're on final for runway 9, I want you to offset to the left. I got a jet that's landing on runway 9. The jet's cleared to land runway 9 if you can make it. If not, just continue straight ahead. It looks like you're going around for the jet. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Oh, we have one right in front of us, sir.
Dragger. Let's see. What we got? A tricycle. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tail dragger. Down to the green dot, then a left turn. Short final here. You cleared land on 9 all the way to the white dot. Go down to the white dot. Find somebody to follow out here. Canard, just come to the runway, and I might have to just send you around. That'll be fine. And for the jet, you just want to stay in this pattern, or you want to go back out for an instrument approach?
Stay in a pattern, Charlie Sierra.
All right, just stay with me here for a minute. And my tail dragger, let's see, over the numbers, go down to the green. And Canard's going to have to go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. And my high wing here over the runway, keep your airborne. Keep it airborne. You do not descend. Do not descend. You got a fast guy behind you. Do not descend. There you go. Keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. As soon as the guy behind you gets slowed down, I'm going to put you down. So keep it airborne. The one that just passed the white dot, make a left turn on the hard surface. All right, my high wing tail dragger, you can put it down now. You can put it down now. And Charlie Sierra, let me get you about a mile off. Let's see, Charlie Sierra, I lost. There you are. Make a left-hand turn. I'll try to resequence you here on the downwinds. We'll see how it looks. Short final, you're clear to land runway 9 on the white dot. Clear to land on the white dot. There you go. And the tricycle left on the hard surface and follow the flagman. Welcome. Thanks for being part of the show. And let's see, just find somebody to follow out there, follow on the final. And as you get close to the runway, if it's not going to work, we're going to send you around and then try to resequence you. Now, who else got sent around that's not back on the downwind? The Canard?
Yeah, Canard.
All right, Canard, there's a Gulfstream up there that went around too. I just lost sight of him, but you're going to make kind of a left-hand turn and stay low. I think Charlie Sierra, what's your altitude?
3,200.
Okay, that'll be fine. Just maintain VFR. I don't know what else is up there above you. Probably most everybody's down here, so just make a left-hand turn. We'll try to get you back here.
Canard's got the jet in sight.
Okay, the RV, maybe an RV-10, whatever, here on final. Keep your speed up and go all the way down to the, aim for the green dot for me. Actually, keep your speed up. There's a guy behind you. Aim for the green dot, and I'm sure that's plenty of room for you to land on runway 9. You're clear to land on runway 9. Number 2, you're going to go down to the white dot. Follow the white dot. Actually, you know what? That's 1,500 feet. You're going to land at the white dot. The spacing looks adequate here. 2 guys on final. You're kind of tight there. Keep each other in sight, and you're going to aim for the white dot. If it's not going to work, we'll come up with a plan B. We might have to send you around. The second guy behind you out there in about a 2-mile final. Are you slow enough to be able to follow that guy in front of you? You need to go around.
Yeah, I can follow.
Well, I probably shouldn't ask that because I had about 5 guys answer me, so I should know better than that. After 35 years, you would think, right? All right, so let me see. The guy who's number 1, it's number 1. What kind of airplane is he? An RV type. All right, RV type. Keep it airborne for me. Keep it airborne. And I got a fast guy behind you. The number 2 guy over the trees there. Go ahead and put it down on the numbers. Put it down on the numbers. My first guy just coming up on the numbers at the over the grass at the numbers. I want you to keep
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello.
Four, three, two, one.
Hello.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Fly Livestream on Thursday, the 3rd of February. Tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be Ian Siegner. Ian Siegner. Ian cannot be in the studio tonight. He's in beautiful downtown London at the Pooley Dawn Till Dusk Flyer Award, and technology willing, he may actually be able to join us a little later. As always, a very special thank you to our sponsor, Skydemon, providers of the UK's most popular flight planning navigation tool. Now, to the one pilot left in the country who has not yet experienced the utter joy of flying with Skydemon, try it for free for 30 days, utterly free. Skydemon.aero is where you'll find it. Tonight's Skydemon tip is brought to you by the punctilious Rob Hart. QT.
Hi, I'm Rob from Skydemon, and here's today's top tip. The simulator is a useful part of Skydemon, which can be activated by pressing the simulate button here. In this mode, the navigation elements all work as normal, except that you can move the aircraft with your finger laterally and vertically too. This mode is really great for getting used to the various nav functions whilst in a low-stress environment, rather than in the cockpit where you would normally use them. Additionally, the simulator allows you to explore settings and options such as what airspace you're being warned about and how far in advance. This way, when you go to use Skydemon for real navigation, things are set up in a familiar way that is appropriate for your personal needs. For more information about Skydemon, you can find our documentation on our website and within the app under the Help menu.
Three things. Rob sounded a bit like he was underwater. And two observations on Ian's appearance. Ian, you look so much better with makeup. And also, Ian has a wig tonight, and Ian has a haircut. As you probably noticed, we have no Ian, as Carol says, and standing in for Ian is Carol de Solerakin. And obviously, Ian is away at the Pooley's Dawn to Dusk competition tonight. So he may appear.
So what he's doing, he's out clubbing, really, isn't he? Yeah, I know it's the RAF club, but afterwards they'll all be down
with others like Sebastian Pooley.
They'll all be down Heaven, Charing Cross later.
That's it. Yes. So it must be time for the weather. So I'll bring in Simon. Simon, how are you doing? How's your flying going?
Evening all. Hi Ed. I haven't flown for a couple of weeks actually, but it's going okay. Hoping to get back up next week. So trying to keep everything crossed for that. But nothing for the last 2 weeks. I do miss it, but I'll be back out there again. Weather. This is how things are going to be shaping up as we go through the weekend. Those of you lucky enough to be able to fly, I don't know whether it's lucky this weekend, given the winds that are going to be around. I wanted to start off, though, this chart. Look, take a look at this one. This is the jet stream forecast for Sunday. And the colours that you can see on there are wind speed in the jet stream. So this is a chart for about 25,000 feet in the atmosphere. Can you just see those green colours just in there, west of Scotland? Those are winds of 190 to 200 miles an hour that are going to be blowing in across Western Scotland. Now, if you were going to be flying your jet aircraft over to the States, I think you'd probably want to be down here or up there, wouldn't you? You certainly don't want that. But on the way back, we'll have a bit of that up your bum. That'll get you into Heathrow nice and quick, won't it? But so some really big winds around this weekend at 25,000 feet and some pretty strong winds as well. A little bit lower down. Now, actually, I've started the chart here with Friday because Friday is looking to be one of the better of the days. It's still going to be quite breezy. We're looking at westerlies across many parts of the country, probably at around 15, 16, 17 knots in the south. I think we're up to sort of 20, 25 knots across northern and western Scotland. Some showers affecting northern and western Scotland, northwest England, northern and western Wales as well. Eastern parts of Scotland, eastern parts of England, the Midlands, southern England, looking better. I think tending to get better through the afternoon. Base is typically around 3,500 to 4,000 feet tops, probably up at about 8 to 10,000 feet, although with the showers towards the north and the west of Scotland, northwest England, northern and western Wales, tops there could be up at about 15,000 feet. That front you see in the north of Scotland, probably not bringing too much in the way of precipitation. For Saturday, though, just look at that. The isobars are really close together. So a very windy day, widespread gales basically from the Midlands northwards. Westerly winds blowing at around 25, gusting 35 to 40 knots. Across the far south of England, you may get away with about 15, gusting 25, but still not particularly very pleasant. And the front that's coming in from the west, bringing some pretty hefty rain. You can see that there, the yellow colours across western Scotland and Northern Ireland, showing some heavy rain coming in. Bases there probably starting to dip down to around 2,000 feet as that rain comes in, but shrouding the hills there. Elsewhere, bases typically 3,000 to 4,000 feet. I just don't think you're going to be going very far, though, are you really, with those winds? So if you come into weather school on Saturday, well done you. You chose a really good day to come along. For Sunday, breezy once again. We've got this front that trails across southern England on Sunday. Bit of uncertainty over exactly where it is. I think along the line of that front, probably fairly cloudy bases, 2,000-3,000 feet. So not a lot left on that front by that stage, but still quite breezy. Westerlies in the south at around 15 to 18 knots. Still gusts of 20 to 25 knots possible. As we head further north, a little bit brighter, northern Midlands, northern England, but then we get into heavy showers across southern Scotland, the far north of England, across western and northern Scotland as well. Pretty breezy here. Bases about 1,000 to 2,000 feet in the heaviest of the showers, which will be falling as snow over the hills of Scotland and northern England, and freezing levels falling as well to be close to the surface across Scotland and northern England on Sunday. So all in all, not the best of weekends, with air masses playing games with us from a tropical maritime to a polar maritime. And of course, I tell you all about air masses, the stuff you really need to know beyond your PPL, your forecast of cloud bases, etc., from those air masses at Aviation Weather School. My next Aviation Weather School Part 1 on the morning of the 12th and the 19th of March. Those are consecutive Saturday mornings, and you can book your place now and find out more at weatherschool.co.uk. Have a great weekend. Try not to fly at 25,000 feet in 200 mile an hour winds, won't you? I'll see you next week.
Lovely stuff. Thank you, Simon.
Right. As
Wow.
Martin Lonsdale says, I think I'll do something else this weekend. How much? Maybe so. But well done on flying every weekend of January.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, I think it's time for some news, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Peter Satchel, you need to concentrate.
I'm actually reading the comments. His comments about saying Kemble Airfield. Oh no, not Kemble. Cotswold.
Cotswold. Yes, exactly. Yes. On to the news.
Yes.
And I think I've got the first item, which is all about a speed record set by the Risen T914T. It's the first microlight to set a world speed record faster than 400 kilometers an hour. That's 250 knots. The FAI, World Authority for Air Sports, has recognised two records set by Alberto Porto, who's the creator of the Risen. And these are records set last year: 400.45 kilometres on a straight course and 378.94 kilometres for a 50-kilometre closed circuit. It's the same aeroplane and same pilot as some records set in 2019, but flown at 10,000 feet. And Alberto was getting back some records taken by another man that had been taken from him by another manufacturer. So he says he's not that impressed. He said the new FAI rule interpretation is not about comparing the aeroplane's performance. It's just about having the biggest turbo. Alberto's answer to that is to put the Rotax 915IS in his next Risen, which will be called the Super Veloce, a 600 kilogram microlight, which will probably have re-entry burn marks on it. So.
It's got a massive cabin. What looks like a massive cabin, anyway, or a massive
it's
top
huge
instrument panel.
It's a massive kind of bubble, and it's what you have to do if you want the kind of lowest form drag, rather than have your big sticky up bubble. And you need to make it all part of the shape. So
Aerodynamics.
That's it, aerodynamics.
Yeah.
Yes, Dave.
So I've drawn the short straw. I have to talk about airspace modernisation. There's an old saying about when the weight of the paperwork equals the weight of the aircraft, it's ready to certify. Well, apparently it also applies to airspace modernisation. The Airspace Change Organising Group, known as ACOG, has produced iteration 2 of its master plan to take over the world. Modernise UK airspace. It's a 132-page document, and but the emphasis is on this is iteration 2. So they're part 2 of, I think it's going to be 4 parts or 5 parts of the whole process. The CAA has just accepted iteration 2 as being okay, they're going to go ahead with it. Their acceptance of it is a further 56 pages. I have to admit, I haven't read all of them. Instead, I've asked someone to read them, digest them, and give us a summary of the bits that will be important to GA, and that will be in the next issue of Flyer.
We can only hope.
If you want to download these documents, you can go to the story on Flyer, and there are links there.
Yeah,
we'll have to find the news story and stick it in the comments. I can only hope that out of all of this, is it too much to ask that we'll get super simple airspace?
Well, I think a lot of it is also to do with the integration of drones and unmanned aircraft. So it's not just modernising UK's airspace, which is more than 50 years old. It's about making it ready for the future world of unmanned aviation.
That's it. David Schneider's on it. Let me guess. UK, best place in the world for GA.
Yep. So I've just put the link in the comments for the news story. Should you want to go and download these documents and read over 200 pages of very intense material.
Or wait for Flyer April's edition and let us do the hard work for you.
Yeah, we'll condense it into a few pages.
That's it. Carol, tell us about Vista.
One page.
Vista Airfield. Okay, now sadly we've lost its multi-directional landing, but in return we have got the developing company is Vista Motion, which is run by CEO Daniel Gagan, and he's developing it so that it's going to be available for a lot more people. It's going to be very family oriented. It's a get outdoor place, and he's really expanding the aviation and classic car side of things. So there's going to be a hotel on it. And it's just all good news, apart from my poor friend who is just pining for his multi-directional landing airfield. But everyone else seems to be extremely happy about it. So yeah, cars and aeroplanes. What more could you hope for?
Yeah, it's a brilliant place. I've been before to some car shows, and it really is. As an old RAF base, it's been preserved so well.
Going up in
just
price,
left to rot and.
I noticed the expense of tickets is going up and up. I understand they're trying to sort of match Goodwood for their type of events. So you get what you pay for, I guess. Let's see how it evolves.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be good to visit again one day. Maybe have a Flyer Club day out there, look around the cars, and
they have a lot of events. I mean, the VAC, the Vintage Aircraft Club, used to have a lot of events, or get privileges flying in there. We've got the chairman of the LAA keeps his aircraft there, so he keeps in with everybody. So I'm sure there's something that can be done, for that.
Vista, we'd like a Flyer Club fly in there. Will you let us have one?
Yes, please. Good, right. It's me next, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, Johnny, tell us about electric racing aircraft.
Yeah, so a Norwegian team, they've made the first flight of their all-electric racer for the new Air Race E series, which is going to start next year. This is it here. It's based on a Kassut 3M. So this is the Nordic air racing team. They made a 10-minute test flight in Norway in end of last month in January. They flew 4 circuits at 2,000 feet. They did some slow flying control tests and that sort of thing. And it all went as predicted. They tested up to 90 kilowatts of power and managed to get 140 knots out of the aeroplane, which is good. Wow. So they're one of 17 teams that are going to be taking part in this racing series next year. So it should be an interesting thing to watch. Obviously, the Rolls-Royce XL project has done what that needed to do. And now these smaller teams are going to, take up different parts of battery technology and try and develop it themselves. And
I'm guessing we're going to see lots if their race series starts next year, and there's loads of teams in the series, then we're going to see lots of these first flights coming up.
Yeah. I think the important thing here was it's the first one of the first aircraft for the new race series.
New race series.
Yeah, so it's they're making a big deal of it because it's the first racing aircraft that's powered by electricity, as far as we can tell.
Yeah. Interestingly, Johnny, you mentioned the Rolls-Royce XL, the Spirit of Innovation aircraft. I saw a number attached to the cost of the whole project published this week. £6 million.
Wow.
Wow.
And you can read about it. It's the current cover feature on the latest edition of Flyer, which is proving really popular at the moment.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
£6 million.
That's a lot of money. Yeah, and the Air AC, they've also got two other categories which will be fun to watch. One's an eVTOL class. So we love our eVTOLs, don't we?
That'll be over in a couple of minutes then. Sorry.
Dave, keeping with the electric theme, tell us about a green PPL.
Yes, a company called Semet Aviation. Semet stands for Single Engine Multi-Engine Training. Semet Aviation, based at Blackbush, has launched what it calls a green PPL, and they justify that by in the course you will fly a Pipistrel Velis Electro, seen here, and also for some other parts of the course you'll fly a Rotex-powered Pipistrel SW121. They conveniently dropped the SW121's other name, Virus, because it doesn't really appeal these days. Anyway, the green PPL will use both types of aircraft because, for the simple reason, there are limitations on range and endurance for the electric aircraft, the Velis Electro. Now, I talked to Semet earlier today. They think they're going to be aiming for about 37 minutes per sortie in the Velis Electro. That then depends a bit on air temperature and also the type of flying they're doing. But they point out that the SW121 Pipistrel is a very efficient aircraft anyway. Uses about 18 litres an hour in a typical training sortie. So circuits tend to use a bit more fuel than just in the cruise. And they're working very closely with the CAA to determine exactly how the PPL syllabus should flow, given the differences in operating the aircraft. However, if you take this green PPL, you will be flying both aircraft, but there'll be certain things you do in the Velis Electro and certain things you do in the SW121, such as the cross-country flights and also the actual skills test at the end of the PPL. The cost might give you a bit of a surprise. It's $13,1995 for the whole green PPL course, but it is at Blackbush, which is in one of the more affluent areas of the country. So perhaps that's about right.
13,19.
14,000, give or take, £5.
Oh, okay, for a moment there, I thought it was 131,000.
No, £5 short of 14,000 quid.
That's better.
Yeah. If you just fancy to go in the Pipistrel Velis Electro, then you can go and have an experiences flight, which costs a mere £300, £299.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Claire B, who's all dialed into the whole Velis Electro electric world, and part of the Pipistrel operation at Damon's Hall with Deepak. She's put a note in saying, following on from last week's news, because when we told you about the new Pipistrel SW121A Explorer, there's a price. It's €198,000, and you can get it in different colours to beige and brown.
It did look a bit Austin Allegro in those colours, didn't it?
It did. Levy says it's cheaper at Damon's Hall though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hayden says, will the license biodegrade?
Oh.
Well, being a paper license, maybe.
You won't need to offset your carbon, will you, with doing that PPL?
No, not at all.
You need to
buy some.
Yeah, and something that I didn't actually know, going back to the previous story, the Project Axel Spirit of Innovation is back at Gloucester.
It is, yeah, back at the hangar. Back at the hangar, and the aeroplane has got a space in the Science Museum. Apparently, it will never fly again, sadly, and its next destination will be London to hang in the Science Museum. So, real shame.
Gosh.
Who's next?
It's me. The Fly 2022 update. That's right. Our challenge to GA pilots to fly 2,022 minutes in 2022. If you're a Flyer Forum reader, and you should be, the thread is busy with updates from a lot of Flyer readers taking part. The best one I spotted earlier was from Russ P, posting he's done 755 minutes in January already. And he said it's his best January since he started flying 10 years ago. Well done, Russ. Wow. Good stuff. I managed 70 minutes on the weekend in the RV. How's everyone else doing? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Johnny, what have you been up to?
0 for me.
Oh, Johnny. Carol.
I've managed 90, but I've also found this location. Can you see that? Oh, no, it's not coming. I found the location.
Describe it to us.
I found the location that is north 522022, west 2022. So, I'm going to stay there, and well, I could tell you where it was, but the poor things are going to get bombarded, aren't they? Otherwise, it's Spaldwick, which is just north of Grafham Water.
Okay. And I said, if you've seen the latest edition of Flyer, and then there's a Flyer 2022 feature. I know, Carol, you're planning all sorts of different flying involving the number 20 or 22, aren't you?
Yeah. What about the idea I had of taking up 2022 new people, and we all log them together?
That would be good, wouldn't it? There's a real chance that across the whole GA flying community, we could hit a target of doing that. That would be brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Paul Cadell, who Dave tells me there's encouragement from him in the next issue of Flyer, because as one of his fantastic flying adventures, I think Paul has decided that he's going to make this a year for flying more people. And he's already flown a whole bunch of people, many of whom have become PPLs. And I think Paul's flying adventure is about all the flying he did in January, which must have been pretty much the whole month, wasn't it? Because every time I saw him on Facebook, he was flying.
He just went all over the place, didn't he? He seemed to have a weather window up there in the northeast. It was clear, sunny, probably a bit chilly, but he had some great weather and went out and flew. Well, I was going to say flew the wings off the aeroplane, but you don't say things like that, really, do you?
Paul says it was my best January in 10 years also. Well done, Paul.
Wow.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
And looking through the comments, Strato Tramp says 90 minutes. Whiskey Alpha Pilot says 177 minutes. In course, well done. We're 1176 so far this month.
Blimey.
Claire B must be instructing 1250. Andy Archer says 390.
Wow.
Yaved says 690. Chris Winch 820 minutes so far. Peter Satchwell says 615 minutes in January. Dave Disney 200 minutes so far. This is brilliant. This is really good stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
There is a link to the Flyer forum. If you haven't been there and checked out the thread, you should do. I'll stick it in the comments.
Yeah.
So that's in there.
Plenty more coming in. Steph Smith, 160 minutes in the rear win.
In her, which is lovely. Nick Orchard, 680, I think. Pete Stratton, CEO of the British Gliding Association, 410. Nice to have you along, Pete. Mick Ward says 450 minutes of thruster thrusting.
Brilliant.
Very good.
Yeah, Pete Satchwell has summed it up. It's been a good January for January.
And there were certainly a bunch of days where I looked at and I went, I should be flying. And I think a lot of people were like, I am flying.
Here's a challenge for somebody. Timbuktu is 20.22 degrees north.
That would have been one for Zara, I think.
Yeah.
Matt Law says 47 minutes, but not much of it upright. You've got to give us more there, Matt. What were you flying?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, so we're just filling for time a little bit now because we'll
be talking to. Oh,
there we go. Yeah.
As if by magic.
News finishes at just before 8, and here she is. So, Johnny, tell us about tonight's guest.
Yes, right. Claire, thank you very much for joining us. I'm just changing my screen because I can't actually see the screen at the moment. So stand by with me one moment.
There we go.
And we're back. Thank you. Right. Claire, thank you for joining us. Claire Lomas. So you have literally very recently just passed your microlight PPL skills test, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right.
and you've become a bit of a motivational speaker and a bit of somebody who likes to take on challenges, haven't you, over the past few years? Can you just first of all explain who you are and how that came about?
Yeah, so I was paralysed in 2007 from a horse riding accident. So my life totally turned upside down, and I just got to the highest level in the sport. So you can imagine the commitment and dedication to that, and it was a big loss. And as a chiropractor, as my career as well. And I had to find new things to do because it literally closed every door. And I've tried loads of different things. I do a lot of fundraising because although it felt like my life had turned upside down, I also had moments where I felt genuinely lucky because I got use of my arms and I decided to do what I could do to help cure paralysis. And I've raised £825,000 now. And it's what I like to find, challenges that I can keep raising money, and flying's been one of them. And I plan to do quite a lot in the future with it, and ride motorbikes as well out on track days, and do like events like the Great North Run, London Marathon, and different things.
Yeah. So Dave is a keen biker. So can you just talk us through some of the things you've actually been doing on the bikes?
Yeah, so I'd never sat on a motorbike before my accident, so it's completely new to me. And there's a charity called the Bike Experience that usually got people that had biking accidents back onto bikes. So I was a little bit different because I didn't know anything about motorbikes, only the colour of them. So I started with a blue bike, then I got a yellow bike, and then a white bike. And that's about my knowledge. And I basically have catchers and launchers because I can't put my feet down, a bit of Velcro on my knee and a toe clip. And on that first day I went on one, I had stabilizers. I was like a child trying to learn to ride a pedal bike. And I'd go from my catcher to my launcher, and I was scraping along these stabilizers like it seemed forever. And then eventually I got my balance, and they said, we're going to remove them now. And I thought, you can't. I've relied on them 95% of the time. And then I thought, I've got to trust them. They know what they're doing. I haven't really got a clue. And as they were removing them, someone crashed and broke the collarbone. I said, what are they doing? They said, ignore them. I thought, I'm not sure about this. But anyway, I had a great first session. Next session wasn't so good. I pressed the brakes too hard. I ended up over there. The bike was over there. I was fine. Bike was a bit broken. And then I carried on. I eventually got my race license in 2017. And it's not so I can race. That's not particularly my aim, but to go out on track days and feel that freedom and raise what money I can. My ultimate aim is to do a lap of the Isle of Man TT course.
Brilliant. So you said you had never sat on a bike before then. Did the bike kind of pique your interest in aviation, or was there some other route into flying?
Yeah, it's funny. I tried flying quite quickly after my accident. So it's probably about within the first year, because one of my dad's friends actually flies a helicopter, and he paid for a few sessions for me, and I think it was air ability, but you could never get that many lessons close together because they want to give lots of people the experience, and rightly so. So I was never going to be able to go and get enough, I felt, for doing what I wanted to do. But more than that, it wasn't the right time for me because I still hadn't come to terms with my accident. And I remember flying over Chatsworth Horse Trials, which was one of the big events, in an early on lesson, and looking down and thinking, I wish I was down there doing that. And I hadn't accepted my injury and my life change at that point. So, and your mindset is like everything. So I didn't do it again. And then, from motorbiking and learning to ski and everything, it's funny how it came about, because it was actually the doctor delivered my second daughter 5 years ago that loved doing challenges, and we became friends. And he actually suggested it to me. I was speaking at an event at his hospital, and we went for a pub meal the night before, and he showed me some photos of him in a Flexwing microlight, and he said, how about you try this? So that's how it all began.
So the aircraft itself, was it modified in any way, or?
Yeah, so the throttle is a bit like a motorbike throttle. It's just attached to the bar, and then my left hand does the steering and the brakes there as well.
Fantastic. So what was your ultimate aim with flying? Do you want to take it further in the future, or have you ticked the box now, or you just want to keep flying microlights?
Yeah, I saw that you had Zara, I think it was last week, wasn't it? I thought you couldn't get two more different guests. She can fly around the world, and I'm going to find flying from Sywell to Leicester hard enough. So very different. But I've still got my navigation to do, so I'm going to start that soon. But my goal was to pass my GST last week, and that's done. So yeah, I just keep focusing on the next bit and gaining experience, I think, at this stage, and becoming more confident on my own and everything. I've still done very few hours, but I just like to find ways to raise money. And actually, with my microlight, I was given a plain black flying suit. And I came up with the idea of if I got different names and logos from businesses on my flying suit. So I asked for a minimum donation of £100 for each badge, and already raised over £10,000 for the Nickel Spinal Injury Foundation. So, it's just coming up with ways all the time and different things that I can do.
Yeah. Do you find there's any kind of similarities between horse riding and aviation?
Yeah, I think it also, like, having done that, it's probably helped me learn to ride the bike and fly. Yeah, it's challenging in the same way, and I think you've got to have patience. Like any sport, really. You have good days, and then it doesn't go as well, and you just keep persevering, and eventually, all those lessons put together, and you get there. And I've been really lucky because I've been flying at Sywell with Wanna Fly, the air school there, and they've just been amazing. And that's a big part of it. Like, if you've got a good team around you, you can't do it without, or you wouldn't enjoy it the same. And we've had loads of laughs, and it's just been good fun.
Yeah. In terms of actually going through and doing the flying, what question from Steph Smith? Have you tried gliding yet?
No, I haven't tried gliding. Yeah, I've only done the flexwing microlight. I wouldn't be against getting converted over so I could do a fixed wing, because obviously that's easier with my wheelchair in the back. But for now, I'm quite happy at just gaining some experience. And I love being outdoors, like the skiing and the sports I've always done. I've always been out, in the cold, get my warm gear on, and yeah, I like that feeling. It's like an adventure.
Yeah. And so when you were doing the training, did you find were the physical challenges more difficult than the sort of mental challenges in terms of, all the things you have to learn and exams and that sort of thing?
Both, really. I mean, I hadn't done anything where I've had exams like that for ages, since I was at uni. So I knew that side would be tough. And it actually came at a really good time for me, because with lockdown, I'm often out speaking at events all around the country. So I wasn't doing much traveling. I had more time. So it's fitting really well, because I've been able to book in more lessons, whereas from March, there's like face-to-face events are coming back, and I wouldn't be able to have that amount of lessons and look after my kids and do everything else. So yeah, it came at just the right time. But I like the challenge of doing the exams and the whole lot, really.
Yeah. Our resident microlight madman, Paul Kiddell, says, fantastic, Claire, massive well done. David Sykes flew from Rougheth to Australia in his flex wing. So
yeah, no, I saw that. It's amazing. So no, massive achievement.
Maybe a challenge for the future.
I think not.
And Pete Stratton's dropped in there. So Pete's the boss of the British Gliding Association. Get in touch if you want to convert to a K21 glider with hand rudder.
Ah, there you are. Thank you. But yeah, I think, like, for now, it's funny, because when I started flying, I was up there with Simon teaching me, and I remember an early lesson, I looked down, I thought, I'm not sure I ever want to be up here on my own. And then, it kind of builds up, and you do that first solo, and you are up there on your own. And it's the same now with making my way around the country and getting used to doing that on all the radio calls and stuff. So yeah, that's what I really want to focus on, is getting that confidence, so I feel like I can fly to where I want. Yes,
yeah. Have you got any places on your kind of bucket list of where you want to visit?
Anywhere with a nice cafe, so I can have to that's important, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, just there's people I want to take up. So I've got a speaking agency that I work quite a lot with, and I promised them a fright of a lifetime. So I've got a few. Actually, I auctioned a flight with me. I call it a fright. So I said, do you want a fright of a lifetime with newly qualified paraplegic pilot? And it went for quite a lot from the Nichols Foundation, and it's an 80-year-old lady that's never been up before. So I've got that to do this summer. So that should be good. And yeah, and it's getting it in around everything else, because I've got a lot of other fundraising events. So, and actually it's funny, because my flying instructor's come like a friend now. And so we did the flying, and then he ended up doing the Couch to 5K running. So we actually raced each other at the Great South Run in October. And this year we've got the Great North Run and the Great South. Now, you didn't expect that with your flying instructor. No. So we've got a lot of competition going on this year, as well as the flying.
Brilliant. Did you think that kind of doing the flying and getting to where you've got now has helped your confidence since, you obviously you've done a lot of challenges since your accident, but are they still helping you?
Definitely. I think, when I had my accident and, I was 27 and living life and my goals and ambitions were set high for the future. And, suddenly to be told you can't walk and you're disabled, it's a massive shock. And, all I could think is that I wasn't able to do stuff, which I wasn't a lot of the stuff I did, but actually I found things that I'd never have done if it wasn't for the accident. And it gives you, not so much now because I'm in a different place those first couple of years when I was trying to find things to do. But when I did, and skiing was the first thing I found, my self-esteem and confidence started to come back, and it made a big difference. So, finding all those other things that are out there. And if you compare my accident, like when it happened, to someone, 20 or 30 years ago, we're so lucky that these adaptions are there so we can do all this, because it totally has changed my life. That I can hand cycle and the monos, it's all clever equipment, and the adaptions on the microlight and motorbike.
Yeah. Now we've just posted a link to your website in the comments for people. Can you tell us a bit about the book as well that you've got coming out?
Yeah, so I wrote my first book it came out in 2014, which went into more detail of my accident. And I walked the London Marathon in 2012 using a robotic suit. That's a lot of the fundraising I've done. And that raised a lot of money and got a lot of media, and that's kind of given me the platform to do the other stuff. So the first book covers really up to 2014, a hand cycle challenge as well. And this one was another thing I wanted to do for a few years, and lockdown gave me the opportunity to do it. And it's called The Bigger Picture, and it goes into all the challenges I've done in a briefer detail of like up to 2014. So a little bit about my accident, my background, the London Marathon stuff, but more detail of like motorbikes, flying. And also my husband was diagnosed with severe OCD, so it goes into our journey with that and the kind of mental aspect to that. And yeah, just got kind of tips and things that I've learned along the way.
Yeah. When's it out and where can people find it?
Yeah, so it's on my website, claireschallenge.co.uk, and it is out on the 8th of March, which is International Women's Day. And actually, I thought, will it be out then? I set that day around Christmas time, just before Christmas. But I knew I didn't want to finish it because the last chapter is the GST. And I didn't want to finish it until I'd done my GST. So I knew I was getting quite tight for time. It's gone off to the printers today. So I did it in time. So that was good. I was lucky.
Always good to set a deadline, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just looking at your website. So have you, am I right in thinking you've raised £842,000 so far?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Incredible.
So want to head towards the £1 million milestone and hopefully get there. It's hard raising when it's coming, like you can't keep asking the same people. It's literally coming up with different ideas, and none of that is any big corporate donation. Witnessing people putting pounds in the buckets when I've been doing my walks in the robotic suit or the cycle things and different motorbike challenges and a whole range of things that really. And also I've organised quite a lot of events, so it's a big mixture. But it literally is pounds in the buckets and little bits of donations, and it adds up to that. And hopefully, hopefully one day they will be able to reverse paralysis. They're doing amazing work, and I feel lucky. Like I said, it's not just about walking again. It's about being able to dress yourself, feed yourself, wipe your own tears away. When I was in hospital, people couldn't even do that because they got neck injuries and lost the use of their arms. So I'm very driven to help make that happen in the future.
Yeah. What kind of message would you have for somebody who might be in your situation who thinks of flying as something that they could never do?
Yeah, I mean, if I can do it, anyone can do it. I think, it's like just give things a go. I know, it wasn't a burning desire of mine to ever learn to fly or ride a motorbike, anything. I was riding horses, and that was what I saw myself doing probably for the rest of my life. But actually, I'm really grateful to my accident because it's made me try other things and see what else is out there rather than doing one thing all the time. So I think whether you've had a life-changing accident or, you just kind of stuck doing the same old thing all the time, just try new things. It's quite exciting and exhilarating, and I've enjoyed that opportunity.
Yeah, fantastic. Have we got any more comments or questions in the comments at all, Ed?
I don't think so. There's just a lot of very positive stuff coming through. 2 weeks, 2 inspiring ladies, great stuff. Darren Lewington says, "Blimey, amazing fundraising."
Thank you.
Martin Loosby says, "We are not worthy."
And
yeah,
I think this was the flying suit that you raised money with, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, exactly. So it looks more colourful now as well. So yeah.
And how much did you raise for that?
To raise 10,000 by the time I got my license and put it on social media, and I think BMA shared it, and then I got a couple more and just got over the 10,000 by the time I took my test. So I was really chuffed.
Well done.
I saw a statement, Claire, was it that you made at some point about how you came to terms with your accident and the injuries. It wasn't what you said. It wasn't what I realized it wasn't what I couldn't do, is what I could do. That's that sudden shift around in perception.
Yeah,
How did
exactly.
you reach that point?
You know, when I had my accident, the list of what I couldn't do felt like that long. I'd lost so much. My relationship fell to bits because it has a huge impact on everyone around you. My career, like I said, my sport, it just felt like everything had gone. And now when I look back, you know, I wouldn't change my life back to before my accident. The list of what I can do feels like the long list. And if I hadn't moved on and if I kept dwelling on all the things I couldn't done, then I wouldn't have had the best days of my life after my accident. And if I had to name the best, say, 5 times in my life, they all come after my accident, meeting Dan and having my little girls, and some of the schools and the challenges, and even my career I prefer to the one I had before. So there's so many different kind of aspects. But if I hadn't found the kind of strength to move forward, then that wouldn't have happened.
Mm-hmm. What's your next challenge?
So getting from Sywell to Leicester, I think. Yeah, kind of with the flying, I'll carry on and see what I can come up with. And I'd just love to get I was invited to do a lap of the Isle of Man TT as a charity lap in 2018, and then it was postponed. They had an accident over there. They had a lot going on with that, and they had to sort that out in court and stuff. And then COVID came along. So it would be at the Manx Grand Prix, and it won't be this year because they've changed the schedule. It's shorter, so they want to have a go like that. But I'm hoping I get to do that. So I'll be back out on track days, getting more experience, and then like I've got the Great North Run, which I did it in 5 days in the robotic suit in 2016, and I'm going back there this year to get a PB, finish on the right day this time, and beat my flying instructor. Except I don't think I will, but it's got a lot of hills. I'm a bit steady at the hills, but I'll try my best.
Brilliant. Are we going to see you at the LAA rally at Sywell in September?
Yeah, I might be able to make it along there, and yeah, by then I hope to bring my microlights at Sywell still. But once I feel confident enough, then I'll bring it back home. My parents are farmers, so we've got a grass strip, so I'll be bringing it home once I feel like I can land it on that. It's a bit shorter than Sywell's, and it's a bit of a slope, so I'll come over with Simon and have a bit of practice.
That sounds great. That is the dream, a farm strip. Good stuff. Right, well, we've got some comments from people. Brilliant, impressive stuff.
Yeah, impressive. Okay. And amazing positive attitude, brilliant. And Paul Cadell reminds us, amazing stuff again. The UK is quite lucky for having a whole bunch of paraplegic flyers in the UK, all kind of doing a whole bunch of its inspiration. Russ P, who goes by the name of Wheelie Claim Bloke, he's in the comments as well. And obviously we've got, have you, I don't suppose you managed to meet Arthur, who flies the Cub, Arthur Williams, yet?
I think I did. I think he interviewed me. I lit the Paralympic cauldron in Trafalgar Square in 2012. And I think Arthur interviewed me there. So it was a long time ago, but very briefly.
Fantastic.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us and talking to us. And I think it'll be great to, catch up in person somewhere at an airfield this year.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, best of luck with all your flying, Claire, and I think there's no stopping you, really, is there?
Thank you, and if you see me in the sky, just get out my way. I don't really know what I'm doing yet.
Very impressive. Very, very.
Yeah. Thanks for your time, Claire.
Thanks again, Claire.
All the best.
Bye-bye.
Right, I think now there's Dave. It's time for.
Martin Loosby says, "Come to the next flyer flying." That would be lovely, wouldn't it?
Yes, yes. Right, Ed, what's Fancy Hangar all about?
Fancy Hangar is obviously in the news we heard that the Ryzen Microlight has set a new speed record in its class of 250 knots, and that's just on a Rotax 914 turbo, which is I think around about 120 horsepower. So that got us thinking about a bit of Fancy Hangar maths challenge, namely what would we pick for our Fancy Hangars that delivered the most speed per horsepower. So who's first? And if you've got ideas, and I know there's a few of you, pop them in the comments.
Yeah, I think Dave's up.
Dave's up.
Well, I don't think it should just be about how much speed per horsepower. It's important, but also you've got to enjoy the flying experience and be happy when you see the aeroplane sitting there on the ramp. So I probably haven't got the winner in terms of knots per horsepower, but I have got the best looking aeroplane and the most comfortable looking aeroplane and the one I most really like to fly. It's the Black Shape Prime, of course.
Ooh, that's quite nice.
Just wonderful. It just oozes speed. In fact, it's got a max speed of 305 kilometers, which is 161 knots, I think, you calculated that. So it's fast. That's its max speed. I have to admit, that's its V&E. Its cruise speed is around 280 knots, which is a bit less, but pretty damn good. It's an Italian aircraft built in what's called the Apulian Aerospace Industry place, and it's a high-performance two-seater. It's got a full carbon fiber airframe. It runs on a Rotax engine. In the one that's got the 305 horsepower, 305 kilometers top speed is the 914 turbo engine. With 115 horse. You can also get it with a 100 horse engine. And they are talking about putting the 141 horsepower Rotax 915 engine in it, which probably won't give much more top speed, but it probably will give a hell of a climb rate.
Right.
So it does look good. It's a good looking
So
airplane.
that gives you, so I think we worked your number out at 1.4 knots per horsepower.
Yes, I know. Yes. Thank you for reminding me of that.
Who knows? You could be the winner. Dave Bridges has already decided. He says Dave wins.
Yep.
Looks stunning.
And they've invited me over to fly it as well. I spoke to them today.
Very good. Who's next?
I think it's Carol.
Carol, what did you go for?
Well, mine was the winner. Till somebody trumped me. The Cassett Special, the Cassett 3M, which is what the electric aeroplane was based on, that was mentioned earlier. This one won the Reno Air Race Formula One. It's a home built, it's single seat. You can build it yourself if you like. It's wooden fabric. It's got a metal frame in the middle somewhere along there. I'm very technical, aren't I? But the important thing is it's got the Continental 0200, the same sort of thing you'd have in your little Cessna trainer. It's got 100 horsepower, but what that is kicking out is a mighty 232 knots.
Wow.
232 knots for 100 horsepower gives you a knot per horsepower rating of 2.32, which is pretty awesome.
That's very good.
Yeah.
And I've written down a couple of comparisons here compared to the Rolls-Royce Spirit that we mentioned earlier. That does knots per horsepower is 0.59. Okay, so mine's 2.32. Super electric aeroplane 0.59. My favorite aeroplane, the Bearcat, that's going to climb at 4,000 feet a minute, but that's only 0.19.
See, big horsepower is not the answer.
Yeah, there's some great things coming in the comments, which we'll go through after we've shown ours.
Is it who's next? Is it me?
Oh, it's me.
It's Johnny.
So
what have you gone for?
I've gone for friendly side-by-side cross-country tourer. This is the Lancer 200. It's powered by an O235, which produces 100 horsepower. And for that, you get 160 knots flat out.
Wow.
Which I thought, yes, I've got really good numbers, but Carol's is much better.
But you can take a friend.
Exactly.
So far, if only the maths challenge included, multiply by the number of people.
Excuse me, I can take 2 in a black shape.
Yeah, we note that you can have a friend, eh?
Surely I've got one friend.
But unfortunately, it's not a multiplying factor.
No. But yeah, I think of all of them, I'd probably have the Lancer in the hangar.
It's a nice choice, very nice. However, I think in a purely numbers challenge, and it's been mentioned in the comments already, I may have you beat. So I initially thought of this aeroplane, the fabulous Poland Special, which was a one-off personal rocket from the 1970s. It was 300 knots on 200 horsepower. But I'd already picked this, and this was way back in the summer of 2020, in the very early days of the Flyer Livestream. So it's already in my fancy hangar. So I needed a new choice, and that was this, which is the amazing Arnold AR5. Now, Chris Holiday, I see already, has identified this in the comments. And now the Arnold AR5 may not look very special, but it's remarkable because it became the first person-carrying powered aircraft with a flat plate drag of less than 1 square foot, or more accurately, 0.88 of a square foot. Mike, who designed and built the aircraft, was a filmmaker by trade and had no formal training in aerodynamics, but he read all the books on the subject and went off and started designing the AR5 in 1981. It was powered by a 65-horse Rotax 582 two-stroke, and when he finished the aeroplane in the 90s and flew it in 92, he astounded the aviation world by setting an FAI 3-kilometer speed record for an aircraft under 300 kg of 185 knots. I had to double check myself then. And that means the AR5 gets the amazing score of 2.84 knots per horsepower. So while it might not look like much, it's an incredible little machine and testament to Mike's determination. Sadly, Mike died in 2015, but his family shared the 5 films he made about the aircraft and the processes involved as a lasting tribute to his achievement. And while they're old, they are a fascinating watch, and I'll pop them in the comments. I'll pop the most watched video, which is one called "Why It Goes So Fast," in the comments. It's a great story. Yeah, like as Chris says, shame the AR5 was a one-off. He was planning to sell plans of it, but it was a time of worry about product liability and stuff, and he just decided, it's just going to be my personal speedster. So he flew it a bunch, and then it was retired to a museum. So, and it's an incredible. But think of that. There is one of the videos, you can see it making its speed run, and this thing is screaming like a banshee. It's incredible. So it's a fantastic little thing. But there's been some really good suggestions, and right at the top of the show, and I'm going to have to scroll. It's a long way back actually. Dan Smith suggested for tonight's fancy hangar, I'm going for the SD1 Mini Sport, blinding speed with almost negligible fuel burn. And I'm not sure about that, Dan, but I ran the numbers, and Dan's SD1 Mini Sport does 100 knots on 28 horsepower, which actually makes Carol and I look like losers because that comes in at 3.5 knots per horsepower. So Dan, that's pretty damn impressive.
Blimey.
And then someone else, who else was it? There is a, where are you? Paul Fraser Benison suggested a particular racing racing Druin Turbulent that famously had a little tweaked VW engine. There we go, APWP, a Druin Racing Turb, 120 knots off 40 horsepower. So what's that going to be? That is
3.
That's 3.
Quick maths, 120 divide by
3.0.
That's 3. So that's really good. Apparently, it had a wire brush at its tail wheel.
Really?
So yeah,
there've been some other good ones. SSDR Merlin.
65, same engine as the AR5, but only 120 knots. Still pretty good going. So,
what would
Ivanhoe Seeker? It's not good. It's what is that? It's 100 horsepower Rotax, but we don't know how fast it goes yet. I know Ivan's got great plans of it delivering quite a speed, but I still can't believe that it's going to trump anything like the AR5.
Ego.
Yeah, I know the Ego. A good one from Mark Albury. The Ego, 100 knots on 30 horsepower. That comes out at 3.6. So actually, that makes 3.3. I think that comes out. So there's some good airplanes that we didn't come up with. David, you definitely overestimate me there. I do need a calculator for that kind of stuff.
He's got an audience
this time of night.
What about Paul Cadell's suggestion?
This is something I need to look into. The Moller Stormo 3, best looking in 118 horsepower on 18 horsepower. So Johnny's off. Johnny's lost interest in the live stream. He's like, I'm googling
it.
Well, while Johnny does that,
that's nearly 6.
Check out the AR5 videos.
Yeah.
I still think I'd win. I'd be to the bar first. You know, you'd all be there with your efficient engines, and I just get there. You know?
Yeah, true. That is true, Carol. But you are second.
Yours is hanging up. It's not working. Mine's a real.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Mine's in a museum now. I put the link in the comments to the video about the AR5. It's worth watching. It's over an hour long because Mike was a filmmaker and it's fascinating. And this the film is called Why It Goes So Fast. Paul Fraser Benison. No rant from Carol. She's almost channeling her inner ear. Inner Ian.
Right, in the Ian. Yes, you need a rant.
That's it.
No, I'm being Ian.
Jeff Bridges says Dave's still the winner.
I agree.
Yeah. Jeff Bridges, have you created an online persona called Jeff Bridges?
Well, I have googled Paul Cadell's Stormo 3, and it does look impressive, and it is real.
Okay.
It's real.
Go and Google it. Have a look. Right. Should we? Have you got any events? Dave?
No, Dave. Events.
Events. Well, there's nothing really much happening until March, but we just heard today that Duxford is holding its General Aviation Day and Expo at Duxford on the 23rd of April. This is a ticket affair, so if you want to go, you need to book a ticket through the Duxford website. They say it's going to have a day of speakers and an exhibition, a bit like they had. It was a couple of years ago. What did they run it last year? I can't remember. But,
no, it was 2019. I think was the last time it ran. Ian and I went along and had a stand there amongst a whole bunch of other people. It was a good little event.
Yeah, good. And it's a chance to fly into Duxford, of course, which is always a very nice thing to do. If you can't land at Duxford, you probably can't land anywhere.
Are they charging for that?
It's quite steep. It's £30 a person.
Yes,
that's for ground entry, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, it wasn't clear. I've only seen the £30 number. So, and obviously that does get you into the museum for the day. So there's a lot to see.
Yep.
Good value for the day.
And also, something I've just noticed is this a new 2022 option on the Cirrus with the smoke system?
Smoke system, yeah.
Contra.
You'd hope not.
No.
Excellent. Yeah. Right. So, Club. I'm gonna play the banner whilst I talk. So we've now got.
You can cheat at the price, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We've now got another webinar confirmed from Darren Lewington. So thank you, Darren. That'll be at some point throughout the year, and it's going to be all about how to make friends and influence people in air traffic control. And there's another reminder of the cost.
Carol has her banner up there.
So if you're not a member, you can join from £7.50 per quarter, £30 for the whole year. The price will be going up soon. If you do get in and lock the price in, and for current members, your price will stay as it is, £30, £7.50 for a whole year. So you'll be getting a good value because the price will go up, and we'll be sharing more information about that in the next probably 2 or 3 weeks, I should think.
Hopefully, yeah.
Mm.
Pete Stratton's got an event reminder for any glider pilots on this evening, the BGA conference, 12th of February at the Nottingham Belfry Hotel. Please don't try to fly in. Paul Fraser Benson says Popham Vintage Fly-In, Saturday, 5th of March. Yes.
Yes, if there's any event organisers out there, and you're organising an event, do let us know, because we don't want to just discover them by accident.
No, it's always good to know. And hello to Lynn Kramer, who says my aircoupe hasn't quite got enough range. I live in Boise, Idaho.
Wow. Thanks for tuning in.
Hey, Big Sky, it says Paul Fraser Benson. Very good. Well,
good stuff. Right, I think that's it. So yeah, we need to say thank you to Sky Demon for sponsoring the live stream, and thank you to all the viewers for watching.
Yeah.
So we'll see you this time next week, Thursday at 7:30. So join us for live stream next week, and obviously, if you're a Fly Club member, you can find us Wednesday afternoons for the live stream extra, which is proving quite popular. So anyway, Carol, Johnny, Dave, thanks for tonight. Everyone, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Yes.
See you.
Sky Demons.